Hello there. My name is Colby, and in this video, I'm going to show you the model that helped me go from stuck at 60K a month in revenue, working 70-hour weeks and burning out twice in the same year, to getting to 8-hour work weeks, exceeding 200K per month, mostly through existing clients, and then actually having a calm, free, and aligned agency where it was built by design and not by default. And we did all of this without ads. We didn't hire anybody. We didn't get a lead gen software, none of that stuff, right? So in short, it is possible to do these things with your existing stuff right now. I firmly believe there's another 20K to 50K a month profit, depending where your business is at, sitting in your agency right now if you just knew how to access it. So we're going to break that down today. But just to give a little bit of backstory on why you should even watch this video and who am I? So yeah, I ran an agency for 9 years, right? I've been in marketing for 13 years, but I ran a digital marketing agency that got to global top 1,000 for 9 years. And the first 7 years, I made every mistake in the book, right? So we doubled every single year, but I was doubling my workload. I was doubling my stress. I was doubling all these things that you should not double, right? And by the end of it, by 2022, the first 7 years of the business, I had burned out twice in the same year to the point where I thought I was going to die. One of which I thought my heart stopped beating on an airplane, and another one where I sent a 93-minute rage note to one of my business partners. Thankfully, he didn't listen to it, but it was essentially rock bottom. So what you're going to see today is what is more or less a response to that second burnout, where not only did I actually make all of these changes in my own agency to achieve those numbers, but also started helping other people do the same, because as a second burnout, I actually networked with a bunch of agency owners, over 200 in the last 2 years, and realized, unfortunately, that this is an incredibly common story. So while I thought it was unique to me, it is not. Over 50% of agency owners are struggling with this. Chances are, if you've considered burnout, you probably are burning out, or you just wish your agency felt a lot better than it does. You wish it was built with design instead of default. So we're going to talk about that. But just to save anyone time who this does not qualify for, first of all, let's start with the not for side. If you're early stage, a hustle bro, you don't like taking responsibility for your actions, or you're seeking a shortcut, this is not for you, right? This is for established agency owners who are doing at least 20K a month or have done so numerous times in the past. And you're tired of complexity. You're tired that every single time you add revenue, that it gets harder, that you're adding more hours, that you have to be more available, more fires, all that sort of stuff. So if you're feeling that and you're ready to think differently, and you are a self-led person who will take responsibility for their actions, you say, yep, I just want help, but it's still me who gets to do this for me, then you're in the right place, okay? So I want you to basically imagine an agency where on the second Tuesday of a month, let's say you wake up to no calls and no fires, and you already have 30K profit in the bank, right? You are operating from a state of flow instead of stress, i.e., you have more time to think creatively, you have more white space on your calendar, you are not responding to a billion notifications every single day because it doesn't run through you. Therefore, your agency is a thing that gives you freedom rather than takes it away, right? Right now, it probably feels like the opposite of that, right? You're waking up to a bunch of notifications, a client sent you something urgent again, and you have to basically have everything on your shoulders, not to mention you have a family and all these sorts of things who are looking to you and have a bunch of responsibility there as well. I personally have 3 kids, and it is not easy to be a dad. I would say it's far harder than running an agency. And so if you're doing both or are a parent or not, or simply stressed, again, you're in the right place. So let me show you the model here. I call it the autonomy model. And the whole point of this is autonomy, which is the name of my company, Autonomy Agency, is built to help you make choice without fear. You can say yes or no without fear. You can do or not do without fear. You are autonomous. No one controls you, okay? And so it's really going to look like this. You're going to see these circles, and I'm going to go through it. And for the sake of speed, I already wrote these things in. But essentially, as you extend your influence here, as the circle gets bigger, you're extending your influence. As you go this way, you're extending your freedom, right? So what you're trying to essentially do is stack compounding interest on the actions you take, which is why this is a big requirement. You have to take action. You can't just want to live autonomously. You can't just want to have an agency by design. You have to take action to make it happen, right? The good news is that all the actions inside of this are incredibly accessible and not complicated, okay? So the first stage, what we're talking about here, is clarity. Without clarity, nothing else happens. And I'm talking about clarity on your actual person you're serving. One of the biggest issues that I encounter with my clients is that they are trying to be everything to everybody, right? And so you will go to their website and they'll have 5+ services. One of my clients came in with 17 different services on her services page. There's no possible way you can be world-class at all of those things, right? And the problem by offering so many is that you dilute the whole, and then you end up not being good at any of them. And you wonder why you keep attracting high maintenance clients who are underpaying, just a pain, right? Part of the prison feeling is because you lack clarity on who you say yes and no to, therefore you say yes to everybody, right? And so what you're actually going to discover in this phase is you understand that you can have less stress by saying no, right? You actually learn about who you are, and then you're excited to follow that through. What we're really talking about here are straight up values. Who are you as a person? Who do you want to become? Why does the agency occupy this much of your life? How does the agency reflect who you want to be, right? If you don't have these things in place, then there is no possible way you're going to communicate to the public who you best serve, right? And so clarity is really kind of just all about, what do you want? Because everything works. We got to figure out what works best for you, right? And that's what I did with Jacob. We did this thing called Mindset Math, where I was actually working next to him at the time. This was a couple of years back, and just looking at his calendar. And he hadn't gone to the bathroom for hours. He had skipped meals, like all that kind of stuff. And his calendar was just full, right? And so just looking at that, I asked him a couple of questions. We used this thing I call calendar curation to buy back some white space. And he was able to get it from 8 hours in calls a day down to 4 per week, right? And while we could think, oh, he's going to lose revenue, he's doing less, all that sort of stuff, he actually added 25K a month in profit within 90 days. The thing is when your time is spent on low leverage tasks and you don't have clarity on what's important and what isn't, you just do everything. And so he increased his leverage by saying no to stuff that didn't serve him and started saying yes to stuff that did, right? So it's not like he did nothing, he just prioritized, right? But after clarity, what do you get? You get courage, because you're operating from a state of fear right now. If I don't say yes to this person, then I don't get that money, and therefore next month is going to be harder. That's fear, that's scarcity, right? When you have clarity, all of that melts away, right? So instead of having, I must do this because, you start changing your mindset and say, I get to do this because this person fits this specific brief. This is exactly who I want to help. Why am I helping 6-figure marketing agency owners who are struggling? Because I was one. I went into coaching and mentorship and community and all that sort of stuff, kicking and screaming. I had no intention of doing this until I talked to hundreds of people and saw that it was unavoidable because they didn't have somebody, right? So that's why it's incredibly personal to me. You have something that's personal to you and a skill set to match it, right? So once you find that clarity, the momentum is crazy, and you get all of this courage to actually talk about what you do, open your mouth and speak about your offer to the right person, right? And so we do this thing called launching an autonomy offer. That is basically creating an offer that is 100% streamlined, aligns with your values, is easy to deliver. None of this $100 million offer stuff where massive promise and guarantees and then it's a pain to deliver and you under deliver. This is all going to be about very, very easy to deliver, that your clients love, that pay your worth, and they'll want to stay with you for a long time. An autonomy offer is not only irresistible on the front end, is something that they would feel stupid to leave. And that's why you can get high retention numbers, where I averaged, for instance, 5 years, while my competitors were averaging 6 to 8 months in retention, right? So that's a heck of a lot more profit coming in because you don't have to keep convincing people to work with you, right? So you just basically eliminate desperation because you're confident, you have boundaries on who you serve and what you say yes to, and you are increasing leverage every single week, right? So that is the courage stage. Brady did this. The autonomy offer is so effing powerful that he was working with high maintenance people in kind of an industry he was absolutely disenchanted with, and that within 30 days, he launched an autonomy offer. And this is from the start of working together. And he had one post that I call honey content because it's just sticky and sweet to the person that you want to work with. We don't care about virality. We care about actually getting the person who you can help into your sphere and then serving them, over delivering, and keeping them for a really, really long time. he collected 20K plus in cash within like 8 days of actually launching the offer. And that was from one post. And then he got on the calls with people, closed those people. It was a very easy yes. And those contracts were also something that were able to be contracted for over 6 figures, because he plans on keeping those clients for a year or more based on the contract. And the client is very, very open to that as well, right? So going from high maintenance, low payers to a 6-figure contract within a handful of days, he's obviously a lot more confident and feeling good, right? So the next stage, we're talking about alignment. It's a little skinny there, but alignment is all about transitioning all of your clarity and confidence from just you to your team. Okay. So whether you have contractors, BAs, whatever, you are going to help them become A players. How do you do that? You don't have to be an amazing manager. You don't have to have all these people skills. These systems are stupid simple. And there's something I personally use to get from saying yes to everything, being a chief everything officer, 70-hour weeks, and hating myself, to 8-hour weeks with entry-level employees, right? I didn't delegate stuff to high players, like high leverage people. I delegated stuff to people who didn't even have any marketing experience, let alone customer service experience. And they were still able to remove me from the day-to-day because the systems were so strong. So we have employee roadmaps, we have chief of staff, we have the owner snapshot, we have all of these things that will help slowly remove you without actually you being like, what's going on? You'll have a full pulse on the agency. You just won't actually have to physically do it anymore. And this is not hours and hours of homework to make this happen, right? It's 2025. Technology allows you to start creating these things within minutes, yeah? So once you have that energy, authenticity, sustainability, all that sort of stuff you would have seen on that slide, this is a really good example of someone who leaned into that, and that's Kevin, dad of 4. So definitely personal to me, being a dad. But he was stuck at 50K revenue per month. He was answering every single message in Slack. He was running his whole business out of Slack and Google Drive, essentially. Quite literally, he was the bottleneck to the business, right? A very, very talented person who was doing everything, and therefore the business could only go as far as he was able to go, his bandwidth, right? He told me for days that he had a team of A players, but he just didn't really know how to manage them. That wasn't his skill set. So we installed some systems, the chief of staff one in particular, delegated to people he trusted. He went from approving every single aspect of the video projects, because he's a video agency, down to only like 1 out of every 4, which sped things up. So projects got delivered faster. And in the time he saved, because he saved about 20 hours a week, he actually ended up pitching to existing clients. Very easy, yes, because when Kevin gets in front of people, they want to pay him more, they want to listen, right? And not only that, he had a couple posts go viral leaning into his authenticity, and therefore got him a public speaking gig as well in front of 100+ people. And yeah, he's crushing it now. So Kevin is amazing human being, hit 100K months within 90 days, got that public speaking event through his authenticity, and was delegating to his staff. So he was doing much less in the day-to-day. So in short, employee roadmaps, chief of staff stuff, the systems work. And he self-admitted he wasn't amazing at managing other people, and they're crushing it over there. So the final one, of course, why you're here, autonomy, right? Autonomy, the ability to say yes or no without fear, to have total choice, right? To have power, that choice, to build your legacy, to increase your influence, to do what you want to do. Kind of those moments where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting paid for this. Oh my gosh, people care enough about this, that kind of stuff. Maybe you want your name on the side of a building. Maybe you want to donate 6 figures anonymously like me. I don't know. Maybe you want to buy fancy things, right? Maybe you grew up poor like I did, and you want to have a fancy lifestyle and break the cycle that you didn't have when you were a kid. Doesn't matter what it is, right? But when you have clarity, you get courage. When you have courage, you get alignment. When you have alignment, you build autonomy. You are a fearless human being that can do whatever they want. You start bending the world to your reality instead of being a passenger. Yeah. So a good example of this, and this is one of my youngest clients, Julius, no kids or anything like that, but he was struggling at around 10K months for his agency for months and months and months, had 7+ people as contractors, all that. He had this dream of actually wanting to travel the world, right? And so within 90 days, he installed a better offer. He eliminated all of his clients that didn't align. He chose a niche and kind of a vertical he wanted to go with, so he only served those people. And then he didn't need as many employees to serve those people. So he cut his team down, chose better clients. And within 90 days, he was a digital nomad traveling Southeast Asia, working about 4 to 5 hours a day. So it's kind of amazing what autonomy can do for someone, especially that age. 30K profit a month is amazing. And obviously, the systems work, right? So let's actually talk about this just a little bit more in detail. Clarity is really discovering who you are. None of this stuff works unless you're clear on who you are and then who you want to serve as a result, right? And so you're going to use mindset math. You're going to start rewiring your brain to operate from abundance versus scarcity. And then you're going to move into courage, right? You're going to create an autonomy offer in a handful of weeks. Most clients are completing that within about 10 to 14 days. And you're going to learn how to do honey content, which is not content to go viral, but is going to speak directly to your ideal customer profile, entering into a conversation they're already having in their heads to where they're like, oh my gosh, tell me more, right? That autonomy offer is going to be streamlined. It's going to be very easy to deliver. It's going to be designed to retain people, not just have to keep fishing every single month. And then you move into alignment, right? Because everything trickles down from clarity, everything trickles down from you. And so if you have all of this momentum, you're going to be able to actually install it among your team as well. Whether you have only one other person, whether you have 10 people, these systems are flexible as hell, right? So you can do it in any which way you want. But simplicity operations, slowly remove yourself from the business, get you more like a snapshot of the business rather than in the day-to-day with the fires and the weeds, and then creating roadmaps where not only will your employees get better or your VAs get better, they will actually be more loyal as well because you're taking their hopes and dreams into account in a way that serves the business. All right. And then autonomy, dream life, legacy, need I say more, whatever you want, you can start going after because you have clarity, courage, and alignment. Then you can kind of start bending your future the way you wish. Right. So final thing is just, what is all of this? If you are interested in all of that, this is just kind of the model. This is what we talk about. So what Autonomy Agency is a community of people like you who want support along the way. When I went from, completely no idea what I was doing for 7 years, completely on my own and burning out twice, I would have begged for something like this, right? And so in the last 2 years, I have found mentors along the way and that sort of stuff, but no one has specifically satisfied for just agency owners with this kind of mentality. Instead of just selling you a funnel, selling you more leads, that's complexity, right? If you want to add more revenue and you want to have a perfect Instagram DM funnel and all that sort of stuff, it's not solving the core problem. The core problem is you're going to be selling something, more of it, that is not actually in alignment with you, right? So it's just going to create more headaches. You're going to want to burn it down even more. So this is designed to help you figure out who you want to be and who you want to serve. It's designed to then build off the back of that with something that is easy to deliver and then be in total alignment with you so that every single directive you give in your business moving forward for the next 10 years feels completely aligned, clear, concise, straightforward, healthy. Yeah. Basically add white space, add freedom, and make more money. That is the goal of Autonomy Agency. So kind of the basics is that it is a community with one-on-one access to me, and you have the shortest feedback loops in the game. I don't want you to have to wait on an answer if you have a question and that sort of stuff. I like to make sure that clients have momentum on and on and on so that they're not stop-start. And then, education I'll be adding to weekly. I like to say it will only be as poor as it is today because I'm going to be adding stuff pretty much daily, every single week, high engagement, high caliber people in here. This is not going to be a bunch of different like beginners and people not at your level. All of you are going to be very much at the same level, and therefore rising tides floats all boats. And then, weekly pricing. I won't get into that here, but if you're watching this video and want to learn about what the investment is and all the other details, because obviously this is a high level overview, then feel free to DM me on Instagram with the word autonomy, or you can just look at whatever materials I would have sent you via email or through text or WhatsApp. So that is it. That is the autonomy model. If you have any questions, send me that Instagram DM. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you inside the community to see you gain that profit and that white space, that freedom, and the ability to choose whatever you want without fear. So thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you inside.